creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
We are not in 2024. The word month comes from moon, because a month is a 28-day lunar cycle. 365 divided by 28 is 13. We have 13 lunar cycles every year. Where is the missing month? This is where it gets crazy. We don't know what year we are truly in, people. The fluids in our body are in cycle with the moon. That's why women have a menstruation cycle every 28 days. The ancients would never eat anything on a full moon, and they would do rituals. Maybe they did this to keep us out of sync with the celestial bodies, because they hold influence over our consciousness. There's so much more that goes into.
So I'm actually 36, not 45. Yes, this time I agree with you. Literally chisel and hammer. I'm kidding. I don't know, but let me know what you think about this. Teslanesia, Indonesia. Just kidding. The mountain of calm. Wow. The map is called Terra Infinita. I have read the books about this, but I don't know if it's real or not either.
This has got to be the most American thing I've ever seen. So a 71-year-old cyclist in Oregon was hit by an ambulance that made a right turn into him. That ambulance then picked him up, put him in the back, and drove him to hospital. They then proceeded to charge him $1,800 for the trip. The hospital then charged him $47,000 in medical expenses, and then also an additional $50,000 in expenses that he's still yet to receive. So, in response, the man has now filed a lawsuit against the ambulance provider for a whopping $997,000. America.
So can someone start a private ambulance business and charge like $100, $300 for the ride? Why no one did it yet?
This woman has to be one of the most talented people I have ever seen in my life. This is the Dutch artist Raya Senna, and she can draw with both her hands, both of her feet, 4 to 8 different pictures at the same time, and she does it with like unparalleled detail. It is absolutely insane.
No way.
How did she even figure out that she has a talent for this? Did she just like drop a pencil one day and it just magically landed in between her toes and she was like, let me start drawing, and then her pictures were hyper realistic? I don't get it. So she's not ambidextrous, she's quadextrous. And obviously scientists are like, how does she do this? We need to study her brain. And what they found is when she goes into the zone, she reaches a state of alpha theta brainwaves. This is a similar state to what they find in monks who have been meditating for decades. This is also the state that people get into when they talk about a flow state or a creative flow state. The most interesting thing that Raya Senna says is that while she is in this state, it is as if all of her limbs are operating individually. And the art is just flowing through her. She is not consciously doing all the actions, but rather unconsciously letting every action unfold. And look at the detail. This is unbelievable. In this one, she did 6 pictures. I've seen her do 8 at the same time. I tagged her in the video. You guys should definitely follow her, but she is one of the most talented people I have ever seen.
This should be considered a superpower. This AI is getting out of hand.
The videos of the Chinese kindergartners being absolutely elite at everything that they do, they occupy 90% of my brain power right now. In kindergarten, they just hand them a basketball and they say, time to work on your handles. Look at this.
And
We have a
too.
generation full of iPad kids, and this is what they're doing. They're just elite at everything they do. They're more advanced than probably 8th graders now in America. These are all our, look at this, look what they're doing. These are all our future bosses. This isn't like, look, they even know how to cook.
My bosses.
This isn't like, oh, we went down the local gymnastics, and these are the top of the top. No, this is just like, recess. Time to work on your cooking skills and how to be the absolute greatest. Look at this. They just give them basketballs. I need to know more, and I'm going to find out more. I know a lot about Japanese baseball culture. It's crazy, but I need to know more. This is unbelievable. Can you imagine trying this in American public school? I'm serious. Can you imagine it? One of the kids would start crying. The other be like, why is my basketball not inflated like the other basketball? Then the other one would call their parents. We're doomed. We're doomed.
America is trying to figure out which restroom to use.
Chinese police are clamping down on a viral trend where students are cycling 50 kilometres for soup dumplings. Because what started as just 4 people making the journey back in June became up to 200,000, completely blocking roads and overwhelming the small city of Kaifeng. It all basically comes from young people feeling burnt out with a lack of job prospects and looking to take cheap trips with friends. But authorities were pushed to restrict roads and cycle paths and remotely lock bikes taken out of designated zones in the city. Those soup dumplings must be good.
Yeah, must be succulent.
Did you ever wonder why the passenger windows on an airplane are rounded at the edges and not square? Well, it all started back in the 1950s. Airliners, some of them were designed with square windows. And over in Europe, as airplanes began to climb higher and require more pressurization, they discovered a problem. They lost a few airplanes in midair. The airplanes literally came apart because the square windows created a little crack right in the edge, a hairline crack. And if enough of those hairline cracks created because of the stress on the airframe from the pressurization, the airframes actually came apart. So in the analysis afterwards, they said, hey, you know what? We're going to engineer these things different. Make them round. They're stronger. They won't crack. Never had a problem since. Now you know. I'm Captain Steve.
All right, Captain Steve.
Fly safe.
Here's a better question, Captain Steve. Why aren't the windows centered between seats on the plane?
I used to hang out with friends that had money. I would be playing at their house, and then their parents would get home, and then they would say, hey, let's take all the kids home. And we'd all load up in the car, and then they would drive me to my house and drop me off. And I thought the other kids were getting dropped off afterwards, but all of them went to eat.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but the parents knew that like I was the outcast kid, so they wanted to drop me off first and then take the other kids. I knew that was going on.
Oh man.
Well, but no, it's good for you because at the end of the day, I needed that. Pain teaches. That was a good thing for me to learn. Life isn't fair. There was eventually a point in my life where things like that were going to pay off big time for me.
Yeah.
Like that was an enemy. It's this judgment. I wanted to be a good kid. No one told me, hey Andy, you're a good kid, man. We just need to lead you a little better. They were like, you're a bad kid. Okay, cool. I'm labeled a bad kid. Let's be a bad kid. It's like that's how the world works.
Who does that to a kid? That's awful.
She's poor. That's why she's going to lose. She's going to lose because she's poor. And she can't afford a lawyer. And he's going to win because he can afford a lawyer that knows how to put a document into evidence.
Was there ever a particular case that you think about that broke your heart?
You're going to try to make me cry again, Stephen. This feels unfair.
What is the one case?
The one case that
broke your heart?
It was a case that I won that I should have lost. I represented a pimp. That's what he did for a living. He's in prison for a long, long time now. But at the time, he had very brutally abused a woman who he had children with. And the lawyer on the other side of the case, the lawyer who represented his co-parent, his victim, if you will, was very inexperienced. And a judge who was very impatient. The key piece of evidence they had was a photograph of this woman's face after my client had allegedly beat her up quite badly. And getting a photograph into evidence is very easy, but it requires a very specific phrasing. So what you say is, I'd like this to be marked for identification. You mark the photo. and then you hand it to the witness, or you hand it to the court officer who hands it to the witness, and you say, I'm showing you what's been marked as petitioner's 1 for identification. Do you recognize that? Yes. What do you recognize it to be? It's a photograph. Does that photograph fairly and accurately depict your face after he beat you up? Yes. Your Honor, I'd like it put into evidence. That's it. It's easy. For whatever reason, most likely lack of experience, opposing counsel, I guess, didn't know how to get a photograph into evidence. Now, normally in that situation, a judge will be helpful. But this judge was just not in the mood. And opposing counsel said, I'd like this to be marked. And then she said, could you hand it to the witness? And she said, what is that a photo of? So I did my job. I said, objection. She's asking about the contents of a document, not an evidence, which is my job. Judge said, sustained. So she said, okay, I'm sorry. Who took this photo? And she said, I don't know who took it. She says, okay, what is it a photo of? Stood up again, objection, asking about the contents of a document, not an evidence. And I could see opposing counsel getting flustered because she didn't know the words. And my internal dialogue at that moment was, just say it. Like, just get it right. Just say fairly and accurately depict. Just say it. I remember looking at the judge and thinking, like, you're letting this happen. You're letting this happen. Don't let this happen. Like, she's poor. She's poor. That's why she's going to lose. She's going to lose because she's poor. And she can't afford a lawyer. And he's going to win because he can afford a lawyer that knows how to put a document into evidence. And there's something really wrong about that. And the judge didn't. The judge just let her drown. And she asked 3 or 4 more questions that were the wrong questions. And then she just said, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. And then she just sat down.
Man.
And the case got dismissed.
And this man cried all the way to the bank.
This is the strongest I've ever seen you.
Yeah?
Yeah, the strongest I've ever, and I know you since you're 13. I think this impresses the shit out of me. Nothing impresses me. So, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I don't lie. I was worried about him traveling here, traveling there. I can sleep now at night. This is great. 7, good.
8, 14,
and 9, let's go. 10, 2, 1. Good, last one.
Ooh.
Yes. What is that? You did more workouts than what I've seen you than the whole time you fought Lennox Lewis. Am I right or wrong? There's a whole new ball. I'm proud of you. The new generation.
The muscle at the age is crazy. I hope he wins.
Gorillas are unintentionally the funniest animals on the planet. Let me explain. They share 98% of our DNA and also custody of the hatred of getting caught in the rain. Peep the wall hug, peep the face. That's perfect form. You've seen gorillas beat their chest, but have you heard it? Science says it's for intimidation. Whole time. Sounds like Bubble Buddy up in the blicky. There's another thing you hear around gorillas. They eat 30 to 40 pounds of roughage a day, which means gorillas are almost constantly ripping it. Gorillas can walk on 2, and you know they sound like Squidward steps doing it. This is a western lowland gorilla, and its genus name is gorilla, and its species is also gorilla. And this particular gorilla is a subspecies of gorilla called gorilla, meaning its full scientific name is gorilla. Sound like a designer song. Fun fact, the name gorilla comes from an ancient Greek word meaning a tribe of hairy women. Gorillas are a walking tribe of intrusive thoughts. They don't think it, they just do it. Yeah, we're not that different. You ever lock in for too long and just start tweaking? Yeah, that 98 something serious. We twins for real. You know that's his girl, and you know that's not the first time. You want more? Okay, gorillas have been recorded singing and humming while eating. Okay, last one. Coco the gorilla was famous for using sign language. She was also attracted to humans after being raised by them and was obsessed with the milk faucets, to the point where several women were apparently told to flash Coco. There was a lawsuit, but Coco never got charged, but it proves that gorillas are like us. They can multitask and look at 2 things at once.
I believe that every Bigfoot sighting was just a gorilla walking on 2 legs.
Leonardo DiCaprio celebrated his 50th birthday with a star-studded party in Los Angeles. The Hollywood actor ditched his usual celebration with models to party with longtime buddies and A-list celebrities. Katy Perry arrived in a satin white cowl-neck maxi dress and an open bottle of champagne tucked into the car's drink holder. Paris Hilton turned heads as she wore a silver sequin gown, a pair of towering stilettos, and draped a styling white fur wrap over her shoulder. Brad Pitt made a stylish entrance in his Porsche alongside his girlfriend Inez de Ramon. Leonardo's father, George, was also spotted arriving to the party with a rare sighting of his stepmom, Peggy Farrar. Other stars such as Robin Thicke, Sarah Sampaio, Tyga, Dr. Dre, and Edward Norton were among those on the guest list. A producer who worked with the birthday star said, "Leo's parties are legendary. Last year, he took over a private event space in Beverly Hills, and everyone from Lady Gaga to Beyonce and Jay-Z to Kim Kardashian were there."
Longtime pedo adrenochrome junkie friends. If you know, you know.
This experiment is absolutely wild and may confirm that we're living in a simulation. It was performed by Thomas Young and it's called the double slit experiment. So basically, if you fire particles at a screen through a split, it will make this clumping pattern, okay? What if you add a second slit? You fire the particles, it makes two clumping patterns. Everybody with me? So if you perform this with a wave, this is what you would expect to see. The density would be in the middle and it would disperse outwards, but it would look similar to the clumping pattern with the most density being in the middle. So now let's do it with the two slits. When you do two slits, as the waves pass, they create their own waves, and the waves interfere with each other at different points. This is called an interference pattern, okay? Particles clump together, waves make an interference pattern. So now let's do it with electrons. As you fire it through, you'll see a similar clumping pattern. So as scientists performed it with two slits, they expected to see two clumping patterns, but they didn't. What they saw was this, the interference pattern. For years, the scientists thought, well, maybe these electrons would collide with each other and that's what causes this interference pattern. So in the 60s, they modified the experiment where they would only shoot one electron at a time and it still made the interference pattern. So they wanted to see what was causing this, and so they made an observer. They wanted to record what was happening, and here's what's crazy. With the observer there, the electrons would make two clumping patterns. They would behave the way that they were supposed to. Without the observer, the interference pattern.
But that's a different result to what we had earlier. So here's the last bit of sneakiness that we can play with atoms. Surely now, we're going to get to grips with it. Leave the detector there, but just very quietly go and unplug it. Don't let the atoms know that you're not spying on them. Run the experiment again.
They run it again with the observer unplugged, and it's the same interference pattern. Depending on whether the particles were being observed or not, impacted the way that they would act. Like, how would a particle be aware of this? So the experiment was updated to the delayed choice experiment. They would fire a photon, there would be no observer until the photon goes through the slits, then the observer would turn on. And here's where it gets absolutely insane. Once the observer was turned on, the photon would act like it had been observed the entire time. It would go back to doing a clumping pattern, switching from wave to particle.
Experiment showed is that even though the electrons started as waves but behaved like particles after being observed, at the moment the decision to observe them was made, the electrons recorded themselves as having passed through the slits as particles. The electrons changed their state by going back in time.
Do you understand what that is saying? They changed their state by going back in time. The scientific definition of that, by the way, is called retrocausality. So if photons from a star came to Earth, let's say that star is 100 million years away, those photons went through a double slit, they would make the wave interference pattern, unless they were being observed. If it was observed, it would make the clumping pattern. Even though for 100 million years it existed as a wave pattern, once you observed it, through retrocausality, goes 100 million years in the past and acts like a particle. This is similar to how rendering works in a video game. A video game engine only renders what you perceive. It's not going to render all of the detail inside of this building until you are there inside the building. It is constantly rendering things as your perception changes. The reason why it does this is so that it can save on compute power, but you have the illusion of a complete and total map. The double slit experiment suggests that the same thing may be happening with us. Things only get rendered if you're observing them. So everybody's heard the saying, if a tree falls in the woods but no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? Well, according to the double slit experiment, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to observe it, does it even exist? Did it even do anything? Pretty trippy, right?
It absolutely does not prove we are in a simulation. It proves there's still a lot we don't know about quantum physics.
A 14-year-old Florida boy took his own life after an AI chatbot he was in love with sent him a strange message. Sewell Setzer's mother has filed a lawsuit against the makers of the artificial intelligence app, Character AI, as she claims her son was pursued into killing himself. Sewell spent the last weeks of his life texting an AI bot, named after a Game of Thrones character, designed always to text back. It is unknown if he knew it wasn't a real person. Their chats ranged from friendly to romantic and sexually charged. Here, he confessed his suicidal thoughts, and it was the beginning of the end. Right before Sewell died, the chatbot told him to please come home.
What?
Now, his mom is working tirelessly to get justice for Sewell and many other young people at risk.
I'm sorry, but that's on bro.
Elon Musk spent over $100 million and hundreds, if not thousands, of man-hours trying to help Donald Trump get elected. So the question now, what does he want? Well, in the last 5 days, all sorts of people in Trump's universe have been down at Mar-a-Lago, kind of jockeying for jobs. And where has Elon Musk been? Front and center. Photographed with Donald Trump's granddaughters, on a phone with Zelensky, and right next to Donald Trump since he won. But the question remains, does he want an official role, a cabinet position, or does he want something behind the scenes, very powerful, very influential, but that doesn't require Senate confirmation, that doesn't require divesting any of their businesses? And while many of us are still wondering, what exactly does Musk want? I am one of those people. What we know now is he's not fading off into the distance, simply saying, well, my guy won, let's see what happens. He has got a front row seat. And he's most likely deep in Donald Trump's ear.
Bigger question is, what did Oprah, Beyonce, and the rest of Diddy's list want?
8,000 kilos of potatoes rejected by the supermarkets simply for not being the right size. Our farmer contacted us and said that the supermarkets rejected all of these potatoes simply because they were too small. Like this one here, which is a little bit smaller than you'd typically see at a supermarket. Or this one here, which is a little bit odd shaped and deformed. But when you cut it open and you put it in a dish, it tastes exactly the same because it's the exact same potato, it just looks a little bit different. Thanks to you guys who order our boxes every week, we're able to rescue all of these potatoes from waste. So if you want to save 30% on your groceries every week and reduce your waste footprint, give a Funky Box a go. We deliver to most of Australia and delivery is free.
Also, potatoes are sold by weight. Why would size matter? Wow, he knows exactly what he did. And the way he running away is crazy. AI is getting too advanced.
If you get pulled over, don't fall for these 4 trick questions. Number 1 is, do you know how fast you were going? The officer wants you to say no so that he can pick a number for you. Remember, just respond, I was going the speed limit. Number 2, may we search your vehicle? Absolutely not. They're asking your permission so that they can do it without getting into trouble. Number 3, where are you going or where are you coming from? It's really none of their business. But if you feel you need to respond, just say you're going home and nothing else. And trick question number 4 is, do you know why I pulled you over? This is where they want you to admit you've committed a crime. And don't ever admit you've committed a crime, to cops or to anyone.
There you go. Hey, what about when they ask you to step out of the vehicle?
Y'all are not gonna believe what I just found out about. Thanks to this comment, I went into the rabbit hole of the mega ocean. When I tell you guys, it is so clear at this point that space is at the bottom of the ocean. Like, you know what? Let's just get into it. Pause. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. Alright, so let me give you the tea. Apparently, in 2014, researchers found a bunch of water 430 miles below the Earth's surface. Y'all want to know how much water they found? 3 times the amount of water that is on Earth. The Earth is 71% water, y'all. 71%. So just imagine how much water that is. They also said the water is not a liquid, solid, or gas. It takes a 4th form that is unexplainable. That sounds a little fishy. If you've been watching my channel, you know that we have open minds here. We talk all about the things unknown, including including things like space actually being under the water because of the firmament that God placed above us, which basically is like a dome, and the fact that space may not really exist as we know it. I truly believe that space is at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, it's kind of funny that NASA originally was exploring the ocean, but then switched to space exploration out of nowhere. And it also explains why so much of the ocean is undiscovered and completely unreachable by humans, because aliens are demons and we were never meant to go that low. Guys, you cannot convince me otherwise. And now scientists are telling us that there is a huge body of water under our already big body of water that's on the earth. The math is just not mathing. If we don't know what the heck is in our oceans here on the earth's surface, I don't even want to know what could possibly be in a mega ocean. Guys, I'm really starting to think that the megalodon, the kraken, all of these things are light work compared to what's really roaming these waters. Because what? And you're gonna have to open your mind a little for what I'm about to say next. You know how we've been talking about the Leviathan, the colossal sea dragon that's said to live in the ocean? A lot of people in my comments are like, okay, well, if it's that big, where could it possibly hide? Even if it's at the bottom of the ocean where we can't explore, there has to be some kind of sign that it's there. I've told you guys about the US detonating 40-ton bombs randomly after the anomaly popped up. Told you guys about the water heating up and how the Bible describes the Leviathan as being able to do just that. I've told you guys about the sea life becoming aggressive and seeming like it's running away from something. But if that's not enough, what if they actually aren't telling us the truth? The water under the water is actually liquid, and that's where the Leviathan is hiding. I don't know. It could be a reach. It sounds like a reach, right? But y'all know that we yap on this channel, so let's talk about it. As always, make sure you like and follow and comment down below what you think.
There is a video of a man that found the ocean under the ocean, and he was silent, if you know what I mean. Oh! He told him who's he fought it for.
You ever see Mike Tyson talking to Francis Ngannou? Mike Tyson said,
"Oh, your knockouts is spectacular. Know what that means? All this good stuff happening to you. Know what that means? That you're favored by God. You know that, right?"
Yeah. And Francis went, wow. And he goes, here's the bad news.
When you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil.
You're one of the devil's favorites, too. Ooh. And you got to leave with the guy you came with.
You stay with who brought you here. You go home with the guy that brought you to the death.
Because he's looking to take you home, too. And it's like, damn, Mike, drop it knowledge.
As Denzel Washington said, you better leave the party 30 minutes before the devils show up.
There's a whole method people are using. It's called the Temu method. What? And they're using it to pretty much get everything with faster shipping and for a cheaper price and get anything they wanted on Amazon. Check this out.
Okay, let me hear.
So it's called the Temu method. So what you do is you go on Temu and you order anything you want. But if you order on Temu, how long is it gonna take? Probably like 3 weeks. Something crazy like that. If you realize it, you can go on Amazon. You can order the same shit for 1 day shipping, right?
Okay.
So what you do is you buy both. But why?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a scam.
You buy both because why? It's the same product.
Yeah.
You get the Amazon one in 1 day shipping. Boom. You wait 3 weeks and you return the Temu one.
No, man, come on.
Wait. That's bad. We can't finish. Is that crazy? Yo, is that crazy though? That's how scam.
Yeah, that's scam, fam.
I mean, that's just what people are doing right now.
Yeah, that's
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
I don't do it.
Allegedly, that's the method, bro.
No, but isn't that smart though?
Yeah, no, that's smart.
That's like reverse dropshipping. That's like the defense of dropshipping.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm by the pyramids, and this is one of the biggest mysteries in the entire world. There are over 2 million blocks here, and it took 100,000 men 20 years to build it. That's about 3 minutes per block, and look at how big it is. When they tried to recreate this in modern times, as soon as they started, they stopped because they said it would take 200 years to build it. There is scientifically proved magic to these pyramids. Anything that goes inside does not decay. And they tested this with multiple things like a raisin. Things will dry up, but they never decay in there. Many of like the major scientists and revolutionary people who like made electricity and things like that, they studied the Great Pyramids. Till this day, they don't know what the pyramids were used for exactly because it's far too complicated to just be a tomb. Also, the very tip of the pyramid had something called, he told us it's called ultram, which is a mix of gold and silver. To this day, we cannot successfully mix gold and silver together. And it was supposed to reflect the sun like beautifully. This is insane. Also, there are voids in the pyramid that can hold up to a Boeing, I think 767, 300 passenger plane. And there are multiple voids in there, and they've been studying for over 25 years to be able to get into those rooms, because if they knock down the wrong wall, the whole thing could fall. So many aspects of this is inhumanly perfect. Like some part of the distance is the exact distance between the earth and the sun. Something, if you go around the entire thing or something, it's the exact speed of light. When you go inside, the speed of sound travels 3 times faster. Like, this is like, wow.
You know, if the Library of Alexandria still existed, we could have had so much answers.
Y'all are gonna learn to leave things alone. Are you guys sure you want to talk about King Tut?
King Tut.
Okay, let's get into it. This is King Tut, aka King Tutankhamun, aka the Boy King. I'm sure you guys have heard of him in school. He was made pharaoh at about 8 to 9 years old and was actually a product of the I word, I-N-C-E-S-T. I can't say that without getting banned, apparently. His parents were actually siblings, therefore he was born with many deformities and he did not have a long life. But that is not what we're here to talk about, guys. We are here to talk about the creepy things. King Tut's curse. On November 4th, 1922, Howard Carter, a British archaeologist, found the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Him and some other unlucky folks, and I'm gonna tell you why they're unlucky in just a bit. I'm trying to figure out when you guys are going to learn to leave things alone. I don't understand. Who finds a tomb, a sacred area, and decides, hey, I'm going to go through it, loot it, take what I want, and then exploit it? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's what was done. And now the artifacts that were within the tomb are at Cairo's Antiques Museum. Shortly after these poor saps invaded this sacred burial ground, bad things started happening, which is what taught them what happens when you mess around and find out. I am going to list all of the people that had a hand in the looting, essentially, of King Tut's tomb, and then I'm going to tell you what happened to them. Are you ready?
Yep.
George Herbert, he financed the excavation and unalived from blood poisoning from a mosquito bite on the face. Talk about dumb ways to die. A mosquito bite on the face? Really? Sir Archibald Douglas Reed did an x-ray of the mummy and unalived from a mysterious illness that nobody can understand to this day. George J. Gould visited the tomb and shortly after unalived from pneumonia that he caught out of nowhere. Hugh Evelyn White, a British archaeologist that literally unalived himself after visiting the tomb. Shortly before he unalived himself, he wrote a note in his own blood saying that he had succumbed to a curse. He messed around and found out. Richard Bethel, who was Howard Carter's personal secretary, was found unalived by asphyxiation in a men's club. Sir Bruce Ingram received artifacts from the tomb to his house, and shortly after, his home burned down. Now, he ran back into his home while it was burning to save a certain text, which actually turned out to be the Egyptian Book of the Dead, but he never returned because he was unalived. He messed around and found out. Howard Carter himself got Hodgkin's disease shortly after discovering the tomb, and he unalived. And shortly after that, his father unalived himself. All of them messed around and found out. One thing about me, baby, you never go. You don't have to worry about that with me. I don't want to know. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to say it. Me personally, I don't believe in ghosts, but baby, I believe in demons. And I know there was a bunch of demons in there. Things that I don't want to go anywhere near. Anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed the video. Try to get some sleep at night, because I know you're finna have nightmares. As always, make sure you like and follow and comment down below what you think.
Remember the movie The Mummy 1999? The ones that took Imhotep's stuff all die one by one? watches Thomas Shelby series, the movie? Okay. Wow. Okay.
Elon Musk threatening to ban Apple devices at his companies. This is in response to Apple's new partnership with OpenAI.
Elon Musk has just dropped a bombshell on the tech world. He's announced that he's building a new smartphone called the Tesla Model Pi, and he's claiming it's going to be so revolutionary, it'll completely change the way we think about phones. If you thought the iPhone, Samsung Galaxy, or Google Pixel were the pinnacle of smartphone technology, think again. Musk is promising a phone that's not just better, but miles ahead of anything else on the market. But what exactly makes the Tesla Model Pi so special? How does it compare to the competition? Join us as we discuss this and more. The vision behind Tesla Model Pi. Before we dive into the details of the phone itself, let's talk about why it was made. Elon Musk is always looking for ways to push the limits of technology. He's known for sending rockets out into space and notably for making electric cars. His aim has always been to create tech that really changes how we live. The Tesla Model Pi is Musk's latest project, and he wants to change how we think about smartphones. This phone isn't just any phone. It's meant to be like a mini supercomputer that works perfectly with other Tesla products. It's supposed to be more than a phone. It's a whole new way of using technology. Musk wants the Model Pi to blend artificial intelligence, connectivity, and eco-friendliness in ways no other phone has. It's designed to do everything from mining cryptocurrency to connecting with Starlink satellites, making it stand out from all other phones on the market. So, what will this smartphone look like? The design of the Tesla Model Pi is truly unique. Musk and his team went for a sleek, minimalist look that feels more like cutting-edge tech than a regular phone. The body is made from a special alloy created by Tesla. It's really tough and can handle extreme temperatures and bumps. The phone has a nearly edge-to-edge screen with no visible front camera, buttons, or ports. How? The camera is hidden under the screen, a feature that only a few other brands have tried. Instead of buttons, the Model Pi uses touch-sensitive areas on the sides of the phone, making the design clean and modern. One of the coolest features of the Model Pi is its color-changing back panel. It can shift colors based on where you are or what you're in the mood for. It's a small touch that makes the phone feel more personal and stylish. The Tesla Model Pi's display is something special. It has a 6.9-inch OLED screen that supports 4K resolution and HDR10+. This means you get incredibly clear and colorful images. But the real game changer is its solar glass screen. This tech, inspired by Tesla's solar panels, lets the phone recharge just by being in sunlight. Imagine setting your phone down at a cafe or on your car's dashboard, and it recharges all on its own, no cables needed. This isn't just a cool trick. It's a big step toward making tech more sustainable and convenient. The screen also has an adaptive refresh rate ranging from 10 Hz to 120 Hz. It changes based on what you're doing. So whether you're scrolling through social media, playing games, or watching movies, the screen adjusts to give you the best experience while saving battery. Performance, setting new standards. Under the hood, the Tesla Model Pi is packed with the latest tech. It uses Tesla's own custom chipset, which is great for AI tasks and super fast performance. This chipset works perfectly with the phone's software, making everything...
Elon is trying to take over the world with all this robotic stuff.
What? What?
What?
What?
Who's playing Jumanji? I think the owner of IKEA is from Egypt.
You've seen the telekinesis videos, right? Well, explain this one.
No, there's a fan. No.
I have seen a lot of these and I have never once questioned whether it was fake or not. Of course they're fake. But this one has me questioning it. I'm like, wait, okay, how do you fake that? What do you guys think?
So maybe you've been wondering, well, where did transgenderism come from, and when did transgenderism start, and who founded transgenderism? Well, wonder no more, because in this video we're going to get to the roots and the origins of transgender research, and who founded the research, and where transgenderism originated from. Let's get into it. In the early 1900s, a man by the name of Magnus Hirschfeld, a Jewish German sexologist, known as one of the first pioneers of transgender rights. He coined the term transvestite and also founded the Institute for Sexual Research. The Institute for Sexual Research was founded in 1919 to explore the science of sexuality, building on Hirschfeld's previous campaigns for science-backed LGBT tolerance. But in the 1935s, the crazy Germans burnt it to the ground and destroyed all of his research and all of the documents. But while they were able to do work, his crew consisted of Magnus Hirschfeld, founder and director, the man himself, Arthur Kronfeld, another researcher, Felix Abraham, an associate director, Kurt Hiller, advisory board, Ludwig Levi Lenz, another researcher, Arthur Well, another researcher, Bernard Shapiro, another researcher. Well, look at all these fine gentlemen who paved the way for transgender rights and for transgenderism today. So the lesson for this video is we must always remember these hard-working scientists who paved the way for transgender rights. These Jewish scientists who made transgenderism possible. Because if it wasn't for their hard work and their wisdom and their research into transgenderism, then what would people do today? Imagine thousands, hundreds, thousands of people who would not be able to know what being a transgender is. They would never be able to discover their identity if it wasn't for these brave, hard-working scientists and their magnificent wisdom for paving the way for transgender rights. Thousands, millions of people would have never been able to find their sexuality and would have just lived their life normally and would have never been able to discover who they are. So thank you. We must always remember and congratulate these Jewish scientists for their hard work and their wisdom. Never forget these Jewish scientists who paved the way for transgender rights and made transgenderism possible today.
That laugh, man. Hey, you forgot to mention there were PDF files.
The Mongols didn't need to attack. Just the thought of them approaching made cities fall. By the 13th century, Genghis Khan's armies were feared across continents. But it wasn't just their military power. It was their use of psychological warfare. Before attacking, they spread terror. Cities that resisted were destroyed completely, sometimes leaving only a handful alive to spread the horrifying news. Their ruthless reputation worked. Entire cities would surrender without a single battle, terrified of the destruction that awaited them. The Mongols also used deception. They'd make their armies appear larger by lighting more campfires and exaggerating their numbers, forcing enemies to surrender before a fight even began. This fear allowed the Mongol Empire to expand rapidly. Want to learn more? Click that button.
The Art of War.
Here's what a lot of people get wrong about demon magic. If you initially get into demonic magic practice, you're approaching it from a lens of, I make an offering to a deity, to an entity, to a demon, and I get a result. The reality is, though, that these energies are working very much different than the collective understands until this point. I've done demonic magic for over 6 years.
What?
I've done hundreds of rituals for myself. And I can tell you, yes, you can manifest great results. Absolutely. You can manifest money, business success, all of these things. But after a while, you will notice, and this is, by the way, also why substance abuse is so common in the occult practices. Look at Aleister Crowley. Look at many people who are into the occult. They often struggle with substance abuse. Why? Because after a while, what you will initiate by tapping into this energy is the deepest and most transformative shadow work. A journey that is beautiful in its result, but it is very hard to walk on. And this is the reason why the occult is the occult. Because if you initiate these occult practices and rituals and demonic, destructive, deconstructing energies into your life, your ego will start to deconstruct. The things that you believed to be you will start to fade away. The things that you were holding onto, even though they weren't serving you, will start to break away. Old patterns will start to resurface. Emotions that you have suppressed in your nervous system for years or decades will start to surface. All of a sudden you do experience anxiety, fear, re-traumatization, resurfacing of memories like you have never had before. And this is not because you're being attacked or dragged to hell or something crazy like this is happening, no. But this is because these are the exact mechanisms that hold you back from tapping into your true authenticity and into your highest power. You become the ritual as you walk this path. It's no longer you make an offering and you get a result. You automatically attract the result into your life by being your highest and most authentic version. But in order to become that, you need to face your shadow. You need to process your emotions. You need to look at the trauma that has been driving your life, that you have swept under the rug. And this energy will almost pull it out of you. It will manifest situations for you where you have to face these things. Not because it hates you or wants to destroy you or something crazy like that. No, because it's the most serving, most transformative path that you could ever walk on. But the reason why only a few are truly attracted to this path is because this path is not easy to walk on at all. And this is why you see people getting mentally ill on the occult path, people losing themselves in substances, because it's not easy to deal with these deeply dark emotions once they start to surface, especially if you don't understand why it's happening, especially if you don't understand that you are signing up for this to happen, that you are signing up for a truly transformative process that you have initiated through this practice. And once initiated, once the ball gets rolling, there is no way out but through. And it does sound scary, and this is why it's not meant for most people, but The reward of it is that you're able to live truly, absolutely, 100%
No
free.
reward.
Free of all the limitations that society, your parents, your social surrounding, your subconscious mind, your mind have set onto you. Freely in a matter of that you can be authentic, that you can be you, and that on autopilot, by you becoming the ritual, you now start to manifest. By autopilot, you start to attract these things into your life. Peace, wealth, harmony, balance, awareness, consciousness, all of this starts to expand. This is the beauty of this path. But it is the left-hand path, the path less walked on for a reason. Because you will have to face your shadows. And most people aren't ready. And you see this. Most people are not ready. This is why in the collective, coping is so common. Coping mechanisms are ever so more present. So if you're doing demonic magic, if you're walking on the left-hand path, if you're working with clipothic energy, if you're working with deities, if you're doing spells or magic, etc., be prepared that no matter what you're doing, after some time of initiating yourself with this energy, it will be time to face your false self, your ego, your darkness, the things that you've swept under the rug, the things that you don't want to look at but have to look at in order to become your most powerful, authentic, and highest vibrational self. It's a beautiful journey, but not an easy one. And I hope this video helps you in order to understand and comprehend what you've signed up for if you're walking this path.
What they give you is imitation stuff. Don't do it, folks. Repent. Come to Jesus. This will take you straight to hell.
In this particular video, a family was celebrating a birthday party when all of a sudden they spot dozens, if not hundreds, of luminous objects nearby. At first, they thought it could be fireworks, maybe a meteor shower or something like that. But this is when they start realizing that this thing does not behave like anything they had ever seen before. Whatever these things are, it seems that most people agree that these are not lanterns, balloons, nor anything like that. So, what are they?
I know what they are. I know what they are. They're gone. They're still there. They're farther away.
Now, what makes this all very interesting is that just recently something very similar was seen in Wichita, but this time during the day. Check this out.
Does anyone have any idea what's flying over Wichita right now? I just was on a walk and I saw these out to the west, and I thought they were birds or balloons at first, but they were moving in a perfectly straight line with no flapping or anything like that, so not a clue what they could be. They're flying very smoothly though.
In this particular video, an internet account by the name of Velo Ace captures something really strange in Wichita. Now, according to Velo Ace, these are not balloons nor drones, and at first, I did think it could be just a balloon launch. If you take a look at videos of hundreds of balloons flying, it actually looks as if it could be the same thing. But then I noticed something strange. If we compare the object's speed with the building that's static on the ground, it seems as if the objects are moving too fast to be balloons. Not only that, they appear to be flying in formation and not erratically like balloons would. And they don't seem to be drones to me, but I could be wrong. So if these things are not drones nor balloons, what are they? Strange, isn't it?
This man, Peter Stump, was a successful farmer and an owner of many vineyards. In 1590, this pamphlet came out in London, and it was detailing his trial and all the crimes that he committed.
All right.
And so what happened was, he started off by saying at a young age, he attracted the devil to make a deal with. The devil gave him a girdle, which when he put on, transformed him into the likeness of a greedy, devouring wolf, which in the night sparked like unto brands of fire, being inclined to blood and cruelty. So the story goes, this trial, the town started noticing there was multiple people dying, mainly children and pregnant women. All the men in the community formed a hunting party. After a few years, they finally came across this giant wolf creature, and they surrounded him to where he could not escape, and he took off his girdle and transformed back into a man. All the men surrounding were shocked, and they brought him to jail. And this is what's so sad. His bloodthirst became so much that he took the life of his own son.
Yep.
tested all the available AI video generators, and here is my top 5. Hotshot. This tool comes from a team of only 4 people. Hotshot generates good quality videos and it understands motion and physics very well. They offer 3 free generations per day with no watermark and commercial use permitted, which is great. Minimax. This tool generates high quality videos, but it lacks control and the waiting time is quite long. But on the other hand, it's totally free with no generation limits. At least I didn't hit them. Luma Dream Machine. Luma does text to video very well and it also provides the camera motion feature which gives you more control over the movement. It also supports image to video and the keyframes feature which lets you upload the start and end image and animate them. Luma used to offer 30 free generations per month, but due to the high demand they stopped that. Runway Gen 3. Wait, what? Not in the first place? Runway is a great generator that supports text to video, image to video, and video to video. This feature lets you upload an existing video and completely transform it. Runway also supports the keyframes and it even generates videos in portrait mode. However, it still lacks the camera controls. Runway Gen 3 cannot be tested for free unfortunately, and the paid plans start at $15 per month. And number 1 is Kling AI. Kling 1.5 generates the highest quality videos at the moment. It supports text and image to video. It also provides the motion brush feature which lets you animate only some parts of the image. And overall, Kling gives you more control over your generated clips. You can try Kling AI for free, but the 1.5 model is paid and the plans start at $10 per month. Let me know which generator is your favorite.
Runaway not working and Kling AI is not free anymore. AI or not, I like it.
So the elevator game, this is a real like spiritual game. I think it originated in Korea.
Okay.
And what happens is it's a gateway to enter a different dimension.
Yeah.
So listen, so the way you play, you walk into the elevator, you're supposed to press a combination of floors before it will take you to the new dimension.
No.
So I think you press 2 first, you go to floor 2. Then when you're on floor 2, you press floor 6. Then you press floor 4. And then you go to floor 5.
Yeah.
Now when you go to floor 5,
what happens?
A woman might come in. The rules are you should never look at the woman, because if you look at the woman, you might get stuck in this dimension, right? So if she walks in, she might even try to talk to you and get your attention, like, hey, can you help me, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You should always ignore her, or else your soul will be trapped there. Now, it will take you to floor 10, right? Now, floor 10 is the supposed alternate dimension. This will take you to a different universe, right? Now, when you enter floor 10, what people say they saw is a red cross in the sky outside of the windows.
What the?
So the way you know you're in this dimension is when you only see yourself, like nobody else is in there. It's empty, completely empty. The only person that's there is the woman that's in the elevator with you, right?
Oh my goodness.
Now, once you get to that floor, you're not supposed to touch anything. You're not supposed to interact with anything, and especially don't interact with that woman because she will take your soul.
What?
Yeah. So take this in, right? So what happens is if if you talk to her or do something with her, she'll take you to like a different floor and you're trapped forever and you can't get back. Now, if you want to get back, right? Yeah. You have to do a certain combination to get back right away. Yeah.
You're in good shape, man. I mean, this guy he's, what, 52? Yeah. 52 years old, and he's in good shape. So
nobody would think he's in his 50s.
You say you only eat once a day, but what's good?
The best thing you can do for your health and beauty is not eating something. It's all about not eating bad things.
Yeah.
All right. People keep asking me, what do I have to eat? I'm like, it's not about what you eat. It's about what you don't eat.
Yeah.
That's true. You don't eat ramen at all,
No, he does.
Honestly?
Yeah. You don't crave it? You don't crave it?
5 times a year.
Yeah,
but you do crave it, right?
Oh, every day.
Because today's that day, that treat day.
You heard about how Diddy mom came out defending him? She made a comment saying that Diddy is not a monster.
Yeah, he not a monster. She is. But I don't want to go there. But she is. She's the fucking monster. Everything in her fucking name. She's the monster. She created that, and y'all gonna see on that Netflix friendship. So you don't get the real of him. This DVD gets to the mama. The fucking satanic behind all this shit. It's her. She just ain't no, she the devil, bro. That's how I see it. She the devil. Janice Combs is the fucking devil.
Don't get disappeared, man.
That bitch got everybody money. Yeah, man, I don't give a fuck what she talk about. Yeah, you go out there and tell me, seeing her defend Diddy, like, sit your ass down. You the worst person. You the wrong one. So you got somebody that you like. That's like R. Kelly coming to talk it up for you. Like, shut up. We don't need you. Oh, Diddy innocent. Let's shut up, Kelly. Not right now. That's her. Shut your ass up. You the reason a man like he is.
Dapper Dan said it in an interview. I knew his parents. I grew up with his parents. He didn't start with Diddy.
Creepy story of a guy that visited a witch's graveyard. Yeah. Did you hear about this? Nah. So he's actually a YouTuber. His name is Frank O TV. And like us, he does these like weird videos on like ghost hunting. And he wanted to go to a graveyard and try to communicate to spirits, right? And a witch's graveyard specifically. Yeah. So this is in Peru, right? And as soon as he goes there, he sees a big black cross, which resembles a witch's tombstone, right? And there's a bunker underneath where they can do like rituals or like cult stuff. Yeah. Right? So in the video, he starts filming and he gets closer to that black cross, the witch, right? And I don't know if you saw anything when you were in the graveyard, because obviously in the graveyard it's very like there's a lot of spirits roaming, right? But I'll show you. Fam, look at what he sees. They caught spirits at the graveyard. Fam, he caught it on camera. Yeah, this is a YouTube video. So look, he starts walking to that big ass witch stadium. Yeah. Look. You see that? What? I didn't see Hold on, watch it again.
Let's talk about the Terra Infinita map. As we all know, Elon are working day and night just to finish his projects, to go to the land of Mars by next year. No, not the one in the outer space. Because again, we are living under a dome, and that is with waters around. The Mars that what Elon talked about is actually what's behind the ice wall of Antarctica. That is where the land of Mars is. Still same planet like Earth, divided of different side of lands with its own ice ring walls. As we also know that this world is always expanding, it's not only because human inhabits it. There are other species too that we might not know nothing about unless we see it firsthand. It's like a mini zoo, which it is categorized which species or type of species can live and inhabit on those different sides. Like we have the custodians, land of Mars, land of Neptune, land of Aries, the land of the second Earth, and all those that I mentioned are all inside this world, but with different divided ice walls. That's why our UN treaty protects what's behind it, because all the gates from another ice wall starts from there. All of the project of Elon is all connected to that place, the land of Mars. These are already slowly planned as to not shock the people around the world. Even on their interviews, they say other things and not usually the truth. because it will shock the whole humanity. And it's also a reason why there is a no-fly zone and pushing the globe Earth model, because globe Earth is painted as encompassing container of all the known lands. But it isn't. It's all flat, spread out lands. There are areas near Arctic and the Arctic Circle where it's not allowed planes to fly there. All pilots sign contract for those reasons. And they all know about no-fly zone. Why is that? Because there are more lands than just the 7 continents that we have. But government don't want you to discover. And that 5,000 miles beyond Antarctica, people there we never heard of. And it's all left out of all our maps. That's why they push this globe Earth. You cannot put everything on a ball, but definitely shown everything if it's flat. Most of the time, Elon always talk about the land of Mars and not the other lands, because this is the nearest to Earth. To the people who's looking, where's the edge? Take a look around this photo, if you can even reach it. We are all surrounded by other lands. Salaam alaikum.
How all these islands have already named? They've been already discovered? Who drew the maps?
You're gonna want to listen to this.
The biggest reason for divorce is actually not infidelity, and it's not finances, and it's not even the death of a child. All those things are hard. Human beings are absolutely incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
The number one reason for divorce is uncommunicated expectation.
There it is.
There it is.
I got empirical data for it.
Yeah.
For the 27 years that I've counseled.
I can concur. I've been at it for well over a decade, and that's the number one reason people split up. Tell your partner what you want specifically, and your marriage will be much better.
Well said, brother.
Talk about the guy who was stuck at sea for 438 days? Or did you talk about that or no?
The guy that's underneath?
No, the guy that was actually stuck at sea.
Nah, I don't think so.
I swear you talked about something.
Not
about...
Mr. Beast, right?
Okay, no, it's not Mr. Beast. But there was this I think there was this Mexican called Jose, right? Jose
Yeah.
Salvador. And one day he decided to go on a fishing trip with one of his boys, Ezekiel. And when they went, everything was chill until like a storm hit, right? And when the storm hit, obviously they got pushed off to like the actual sea. Like they were off the coast of Mexico, bro. So I think it was the storm lasted 5 days. They didn't know that they were in the middle of nowhere now, right?
Oh,
so guess what
they
said?
got off track.
Yeah, and during their trip, it's not like they're on a big ship
Yeah.
catching fish. It's one of those 2-seaters. You know what I
damn.
mean? And they've already caught so many fish that they had to dump it out, all of it, because the boat couldn't maneuver the storm.
Oh my god. But that's food. That's survival.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this is when it gets crazy, because now, maybe 2 weeks in, what are they surviving on? They had to catch their own food. They caught a turtle and they drank its blood.
Yeah, you
They
have
started
to.
drinking its blood, and it's urine. But after
Ew.
that, one of the guys on the boat, Ezekiel, he passed away. But what they promised was, before he died, that guy wouldn't eat his body. So imagine your mental. You're just looking at a dead corpse this whole time.
Yeah.
The people that were covering his story said the guy went so crazy that he started having conversations with the dead corpse.
For sure. I would probably do that too.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about the urban legend of Maria
I like
Lego
these guys.
in the Philippines? The girl, the beautiful woman that turned into an aswang.
No, I never heard
You
of
have
that.
it?
Nah.
Okay, so the whole story is that she lived with her husband and she had a few kids, right? And she was beautiful, like imagine like the most beautiful woman in the Philippines, and like you would never expect her to turn into something so like crazy. You know what I mean? And one day, she would come home from her work, and she would start treating her kids like super aggressive, like, oh, you have to go get this, you have to get the chores done, do that.
Yeah.
And her husband's watching this and like, yo, like this doesn't seem weird, but I'm gonna let it go, right? And then she starts being violent towards the kids while the husband is out, right? And the husband usually comes back from work and he's hungry since they don't have a lot of money. And what she does is, the whole urban legend is that she was possessed by a demon that made her crave human flesh. So she became a cannibal. Yeah.
So she ate her.
Damn. When her husband came home and asked for food, she offered her own kids.
That's fucked.
You know what I mean? And she was going around the town eating everyone. Like the whole town was in danger. And they tried to catch her, but every time she escaped. And this, low-key, like, I don't know if it's going on like to this day.
Yeah.
But everyone's saying that low-key that she can shapeshift and she can lure you in with her looks. She becomes a beautiful woman, and then she would like eat
No
you.
way.
But it's fuck, like.
I mean, what is the purpose of lying if we don't trust you? I mean, not much people realized that our undersea cables, nearly 100% of transoceanic data traffic, these lines are laid on the bottom and usually carries the world's internet, phone calls, even TV transmissions between continents. If 100% of internet data is transmitted to underwater cables, that only means that communication satellites are totally unnecessary. I mean, there's no satellites floating out space. It is a scam. Since our ocean is our real space.
Wow.
This photo right here was installed year 1410, a 600-year-old clock. Remarkable fusion of timekeeping, even celestial wisdom that stood the test of time. Does it look heliocentric to you or geocentric? Geography is called geography with purpose and not heliography. Horizon is called horizon with its purpose, it's horizontal. Airplane is called airplane with a purpose that we are living on a flat plane. I mean, you already let your partner lie to you. The governments lie to you. And NASA too? Come on, you shouldn't drink the whole ocean of lies, thinking that the taste salty will taste like a sugar. Imagination always creates reality, okay? Now imagine how this world is a flying ball, rumbling around, but Polaris and our constellation remain in the same position. I mean, how many billions of dollars invested in these so-called spaceships just to lie to us that they reach outer space? Unfortunately for NASA and modern astronomers, that their theory of spherical Earth does not usually agree with facts, because the formula of their curvature has always been found to be utterly fallacious. That's both on land and water. Have you remembered the Lake Baikal? The largest freshwater lake that's located in Russia, with 395 miles long and 49 miles wide, and always frozen for 5 months a year. And it is so thick that cars can pass through across its flat surface. And this is their calculation, quote-unquote curvature. It's funny to think that if Earth were a globe, there is supposed to be 19 miles of curvature present on the surface of the Lake Baikal. Instead, there is 19 miles of frozen curvature absent. Real physicists that can't be bought by governments always knew Earth is flat. Quantum physicists always work off of a flat Earth model. Satellites on space, huh? You know, aircraft would need to use what they called the dead reckoning. A dead reckoning is when an aircraft lose its communication on any ground tower, and they have to maintain their heading, speed, and altitude until they get reconnected with another land-based tower. If they could communicate through satellites in space, they don't need to use the dead reckoning, yeah? But they do, because the satellite on space is a scam. Our space is the ocean, period. Astronauts can't be an astronaut without scuba diving lessons. Like, have you ever think, why the hell is that? I mean, Earth is flat like your ass. Space is fake like your ex. And history is fiction like your relation. And politics only serve as a distraction like your side chick's motion. Our weather is controlled like your cum. Crises are manufactured like the face of your girlfriend. We are always poisoned by our air, water, and food, especially among other things. And I'm not gonna apologize of how I think. And yeah, Globers may laugh about it. At least I'm not the ones laughing that you're blind, or your blindness even blind you that your partner cheated on you and you still believe him. Love is blind, so salam alaikum.
I like her style telling the story. Hey, by the way, the word NASA means lie in Hebrew.
I wish someone had taught me when I was a teenager there is another way to deal with demons, other than just saying, in Jesus' name I cast you out of here. I'm Dakota. I was born with a gift to see into the spiritual world. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus, and so I've been aware of the forces, spiritual forces of good and evil. There have been times where I just saw darkness, and as much as I didn't want to say I got scared, I got really scared. Sometimes I've ebbed and flowed between my authority in Christ and knowing I'm his princess and walking with my eyes open, feeling the princess vibe, and other times I just feel like, don't nobody look at me. If I'd see something demonic, I would say in that moment, in Jesus' name, anything not of God, be gone. I'd see it leave. I'd feel better. It worked. But then the next night more would come over to bother me, and it was like I was winning the battles and losing the war. Jesus didn't walk around being scared and hiding from demons. They ran from him. God took me aside the other day, and he sat me down, and he says, watch this.
What? I say watch Brosky Ray channel.
How entitled are you? Who do you think you are that you think you have the right, out of everyone who's ever existed in the history of humanity, to go through this dunya, through this entire lifetime, without someone hurting your feelings, or without going through a bad day, or without not getting what you want? It is embedded in the DNA of this human experience that is a train stop, a blip in time until you, inshallah, are able to go on and meet Allah. Your job is to do the best that you can while you're here. Your job is not to sit and complain and expect that you will have it easy all the time. And I thought that was grand. I thought that was beautiful because it's humbling. Who the hell am I to think that out of everyone who's ever existed in the history of time, I need to have it easy? I can't have a bad day. You can't hurt my feelings.
I just want to know who she's telling off.
How many government organizations did you hack at once?
20, some, a lot.
I got a lot of questions. How did they approach you?
There was this kid, his name was Darkness. He was 15, and he broke into a satellite. Instead of deleting the logs, he accidentally deleted everything on the machine, like completely screwed up. And the administrator of that machine, his name Black Dog, and he came into our IRC chat, and he was like, you're all... like, all of you, they're after you, like, you don't understand. He even put this site back up, and he had, like, edited the stuff that we edited, so he redefaced our defacement, but he said they know all about you, and he knew way too much for it to be a troll, because sometimes, you know, obviously we'd be messing with each other. Logs on from a, you know, you could see the IP address that he'd logged in from, and it was a NASA Gov one, and he was like, you know, you should probably contact them before they contact you. And so I called, yeah, and I just basically said, I'm... Whitey Cracker, I heard you're looking for me.
Darkness, you know, Def Chappelle, Rick James, remember?
AI already has an IQ of 120. Average IQ in the world is 100. It's got 120 IQ, and people see it's not that smart yet. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's got 120 IQ in every single subject known ever to humanity. It's the world's perfect polymath. And it's only going to get better. We'll be at 200, and then 400, then 1,000, then 10,000, and 1,000,000. We've gone through these revolutions before. You know, farmers with plows in the fields get replaced, and horse and carts get replaced. Everything gets replaced. And I think we've got about 6 years before the economy changes. The issue we've got coming with AI is that population growth has been falling all over the world. We talked about kids not having kids, and the entire Western world is now not at replacement. So you need 2.2 children per family to just keep the population stable. Now we've got immigration. Okay, fine. But basically all of the populations, China, Japan, Germany, Italy, Spain, the UK not yet because it's got a reasonable immigration rate, but the US not yet, but the population rate of change is collapsing. Old people are not productive. We've got this record number of retirees. We've got like 20%, 10% of the entire US population is going to retire in the next 7 years, as these baby boomers hit 70 to 75 and they start retiring. So we've got this non-productive, slow economy because of population growth shrinking. And then suddenly you put in infinite humans, which is what robots and AI are. What the fuck happens to GDP growth? There's a group at Oxford University said, well, it can double in a week, depending how many AIs are being utilized in the economy or robots.
Military AI is far superior than anything we have access to.
What happens to all those pocket knives, tools, and random items that the TSA confiscates at the airport? Well, I found the answer. People are making thousands off this website every day. These items get confiscated and end up sitting in government warehouses because, well, the government doesn't know how to make a profit, obviously. But we can. This is day 5 of my 10-day series of showing you how to make money on websites you've never heard of, so follow for the rest of them. This website lists all sorts of government confiscated items and surplus goods, from pocket knives to cars to boats, real estate, furniture, and even land at steep discounts, 80 to 90% off. They just want it gone. And that's where we come in. They don't care about making money, but we do. Go to this site and set filters for your local area. Global marketplaces are efficient, but local marketplaces are inefficient. But you're looking for big items that are expensive to ship. That's how you find the best deal. Furniture, office supplies, machinery, tools, vehicles, those have much less bidders. So you can swoop in and grab them at a fraction of their retail price. The site I'm talking about is govdeals.com.
There you
Get
go.
14 more sites just like this right here.
Govdeals.com.
You know the song Disturbia?
Yeah.
Have you ever?
That's classic. The number one.
But fam, it has a dark meaning, and it exposes all of Rock Nation.
No way.
Yeah. So there's lyrics. Fam, just I don't know if you've read lyrics or just watched the music video. I'll show you the music video first. Hold on. Watch the music video first. This is fun.
Alright, man, shut up.
Yeah, sing that.
That song, right?
Yeah. Hold on, look at the music video. And the whole thing, she's trapped in a cell. Nothing heard, nothing said. Can't even speak about it. All my life on my head. Hold on.
Oh shit.
And she's in a jail cell. Yeah. But this one's crazy. Look, watch.
What?
The whole time she's trying to
keep playing it.
Now listen. Yeah. There's two words that she hid and said different words so that she wouldn't get caught.
Oh, so it's like an entendre.
Yeah. So when she said, "You better think twice."
Yeah.
You know the movie Blink Twice?
Yeah.
She said that on purpose because in the movie there's a drug, right, called Desideria.
What is that?
And that's the perfume in the movie where they forget everything that was said to them. Oh. So they were hypnotized. So the song is called Disturbia. She can't name it Disturbia because she'll get caught, right? And in the thing she says,
oh, so it sounds like the drug.
Yeah. And then look. She says, hold on. It can creep up inside you and consume you. A disease of the mind. It can control you. It's too close for comfort.
Oh, so it's all about
the mind and the mind control.
The mind controlling drug.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Desideria. Instead of, she called it Disturbia.
Because it sounds similar.
It sounds similar. You better blink twice. She can't say that.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's actually smart.
And why do you think she hasn't dropped in so long? She went into beauty instead of music. Because Jay-Z and Rock Nation can't touch her with cosmetics.
Yeah, because it's different.
It's a different industry.
That makes sense.
Rihanna knows this shit, so she's not gonna do music no more.
That's smart. Because she hasn't dropped any music.
Yeah.
Long ass time. Damn.
You know that movie came out now recently, and that song Disturbia came out years ago.
Take a look at this.
You can't convince me that everyone around me is human, and I've been doing my research on this. This is insane. Hebrews 13:2. Let brotherly love continue. Do not neglect to show hospitality, for by doing this, some have welcomed angels as guests without knowing it. Clearly, the Lord is implying that some angels take on the form of humans, which is insane to think about. It's mind-blowing. Think about how many human beings you've come across thinking they're just human. That's why it's so important to treat everyone around you that comes into your life nicely. But if that's the case, then do demons also take on the form of humans? If angels walk amongst us, demons also do. Think about it. And trust me, I've dealt with a handful of people who don't seem normal. But look, then we got Matthew 12:43. When an unclean spirit comes out of a person, it roams through waterless places looking for rest, but doesn't find any. Then it says, I'll go back to my house that I came from. Returning, it finds the house vacant, swept, and put in order. Then it goes and brings with it 7 other spirits, more evil than itself. And they enter and settle down there. As a result, that person's last condition is worse than the first. That's how it will also be with this evil generation. Bro, what? You know, this changes literally everything. Knowing this information, every interaction I've had, I've been overthinking. But we always pray to the Lord for discernment, for intuition, to be able to realize who's human, who's an angel, and who's a demon.
Remember, it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have that separates winners from losers. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens to you that counts. The Greek philosopher Epictetus once said that circumstances do not make the man or woman, they merely reveal him to himself. Your response to the adversity of life is the real measure of who you are and what you're made of.
Brian Tracy, everyone. Beautiful Guangzhou night view, China.